Hey guys, so today I'm going to be explaining the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So basically what that is, it's a series of organs. It walks through first the hypothalamus, then to the adrenal pituitary gland, then to the adrenal gland, and then out to the body. So first of all, what is a stimulus? What happens in order to get the things going? So we have two stimuluses. First of all, we have circadian rhythm, which is basically is we have cortisol that's being released naturally throughout the day, and it has a period of time where it's more elevated than other times. We also have stress response, which is what our patient has. So this would be the stimulus for him. So first we have the stimulus, then the signal gets sent to the hypothalamus. Okay, so now we're in the hypothalamus in the brain. What happens next? We have a hormone that's released from the hypothalamus called CRH. In other words, cortical releasing hormone. That hormone gets released to the anterior pituitary gland. Okay, so now that we're at the anterior pituitary gland, we have another hormone that's released into the next target, and the target is the adrenal gland, more specifically the adrenal cortex. But what is that hormone? That hormone is ACTH. In other words, adrenal corticotropic hormone. So that hormone is released from, again, the anterior pituitary gland into the adrenal gland. And then if we are able to zoom in into the adrenal gland, we have the adrenal cortex, which is on the outside, right, encapsulated by the capsule. And then we have the adrenal medulla that's on the inside. So where is cortisol released from? It's released specifically from the zona fasciculata. The zona fasciculata releases glucocorticoids, which cortisol is one of those glucocorticoids. So cortisol is released from the zona fasciculata out from the adrenal gland and into the body. What does it target? It targets many things. One of those things is the immune system. It suppresses the function of the immune system, so less cytokines and less immune cells are being secreted. Okay, so the next one is our liver, gluconeogenesis. So what that is, it creates new glucose from many types of substrates. So it could be from glycogen, or it can also be from protein, amino acids, which will play an important role in our diagnosis for our patient. And I'll explain further. So the next one is muscle. So these two kind of go hand in hand. So what cortisol does to the muscle is that it breaks it down, protein catabolism. So what that means is, for example, if I have a lot of cortisol in my biceps, that protein catabolism is gonna break down my muscle, so I'm gonna have less muscle. And what that does is creates muscle weakness, which is one of the symptoms that our patient had. And then also, if we have amino acids being, if we have glucose being made from amino acids, then that means even more protein and more muscles are being broken down. Okay, and then we also have a target of adipose tissue. So what that does is lipolysis, which breaks down lipids in the body to create energy. Okay, so what happens when we have too much cortisol? So we have two kind of types of negative feedback. One of those is from inside the body, and the endogenous steroids. So what that means is that the cortisol from what it was secreted goes back to suppress the hypothalamus and also in turn the anterior pituitary. So what that does, it suppresses these two, and which means that less CRH and less ACTH is being secreted, which in turn means there's less cortisol. Okay, so that's one way to reach homeostasis. The other way is by using exogenous steroids. So for example, we have the medication prednisolone, which is a synthetic glucocorticoid. And what that does, same thing like the cortisol, it suppresses the hypothalamus, which results in suppression in the anterior pituitary, which means less cortisol is being released. So that is another way to maintain homeostasis. But that's gonna be it for our video for today. Next video I will explain the abnormalities that can happen. Thank you.